It's showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
A fine Saturday matinee to you, Andy.
Yes, indeed. Good morning.
Good morning. It has been some time since we have since we've talked. How's your movie life?
Holidays and all.
Oh, yeah. You're still sick.
It's this never-ending illness, and I think I just keep getting different waves of it. And round 3 with urgent care today, we'll see if they can figure out what I have, because so far they haven't managed to help me at all.
How's your movie life? You've been seeing a lot of stuff. As usual, your Letterboxd is on fire. That's what being sick does?
That's what being sick does, yeah. I get to lay around and just watch things. It's fine. Just trying to play catch up on a million things. I haven't been able to get out to the theater as much as I like, so I feel really kind of behind with a lot of the new releases and everything.
But you saw the Greatest Showman.
I did go see that. Yes, I took the kids to that, which was a lot of fun. The kids really loved it. The soundtrack is like pretty much constantly playing right now. Anywhere my daughter is, her phone is playing the soundtrack.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Great music. It was a decent story. I don't know how accurate it is as far as P.T. Barnum's life, but yeah, right. But it was an awfully fun movie, just mainly because the music is so stinking great.
Well, and I should say, I think it is actually accurate to his life in terms of the major beats. They just left out so much of the darkness, like that. So. But it was really happy. It really connected with our family too. I mean, the music was always on, and singing with it. And there's this karaoke app my son has that has all the songs in it. The Smool karaoke sing, which is fantastic. And he sings karaoke to all the great tracks in there. It's wonderful. So
it's fantastic.
Really worth checking out the music for sure. We have a big show today. We want to talk about. We've got 2 lists to cover, so we probably need to bust through some of this follow up that we had. We've sort of gathered over the last couple of weeks.
That's right. Yeah, we do. Since we did take a break, we, as promised, we said we'd be coming back with several sets of lists for all of the people who are anxiously awaiting what we're going to say.
Anxiously awaiting. All right. First of all, community member Mr. Tilkvist, our dear friend from Sweden, had a baby. I have it on good authority that he named it Nextreel. So thanks for that. We couldn't be more proud. Congratulations.
Absolutely.
That is a real baby with a fake name.
Yes, that is what it is. Congrats, Martin. We're thrilled for you guys. Really,
really thrilled. Andy, I do have to ask, why do the Swedes love Ivanhoe? There is a thread in the Slack group about Ivanhoe. Do you know? Are you an Ivanhoe fan?
I've never seen Ivanhoe. It's so funny. I saw him. This is again Mr. Tilkvist who sent this comment.
This is the less
over
important
on
comment.
Slack. Yeah, right. There's the baby, and then there's
by
Ivanhoe.
the way, Ivanhoe.
Although I hear Ivanhoe is actually the baby's middle name.
Nextreel Ivanho Tilkvist. Yes.
Exactly.
God, that's so good.
It's brilliant. So it's what a strange little thing that the country of Sweden has this thing about showing Ivanhoe on was it Christmas or New Year's? Now I'm forgetting the information.
I think it's New Year's.
I was looking online, and Sam Neill, who is in Ivanhoe, like every year it's brought up to him, this whole idea of the love that the Swedes have for Ivanhoe, the fact that they play it on TV every year. And he is like as perplexed as everyone else. He's like, what is going on? I don't understand why they perpetuate this strange little movie that I was in. It's one of these funny things that nobody, I was looking online. Nobody seems to really know exactly what it is. I almost feel like it's some TV network exec was looking for something to play on New Year's Day, and they put it on, and now it's just kind of a tradition to keep it going because it's so strange and it's created something.
Well, and it also is a boon to the takeout pizza business, because apparently that's what you have to do. You have to get takeout pizza and watch Ivanhoe, the made-for-TV adaptation of the book. It is a baffling tradition, but I'm all for it. And I feel like if I saw it, I don't remember it. I would have told you that I'd seen it, but I'm looking at it and it doesn't look familiar at all. And so I think we need to do this next New Year's, Andy. This should probably be our New Year's movie.
Oh, we should totally do that.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Okay, so that's in the news for sure. Ivanhoe, Happy New Year. We do have a comment from our good friend Johan Weilander about Die Hard.
Yeah, he enjoyed the show. And do you want me to read?
Well, we have a couple of points to take on out of his email, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just take them in turn.
Sure. So the first up, hilarious to listen to you raving about Die Hard, especially the theory about the Stockholm Syndromed yuppie who turns terrorist in the end, the obligation to Frank Sinatra, and Al Long's candy bar obsession.
Right. But the Stockholm Syndrome gets us into his next question. What about the Helsinki Syndrome? Is it intended to be incorrect or is it just unintentionally wrong? I think it's intended to be incorrect. Is he doubled down on it? Because when the reporter says, Helsinki, Sweden, and it's not Helsinki, Sweden, it's obviously Finland, Stockholm, Sweden. Right. And that has, since I first saw this, caused me to get those two cities and those two countries confused ever after.
Helsinki, Sweden, or Helsinki Syndrome is a thing, though.
It's not. Go to Wikipedia and search for Helsinki Syndrome. It redirects to Stockholm Syndrome. Like somehow it got convoluted. The Stockholm Syndrome is the real thing, and it's all about the Norrmalmstorg robbery that took place in Stockholm in 1973, and that's the real story. It's Stockholm, not Helsinki.
Right.
And it has been convoluted over the years.
Well, it's right. Helsinki Syndrome has almost become like the Urban Dictionary definition for a Stockholm Syndrome.
Right. But it's not a thing. It's not the psychological condition.
No, it's not right. But it's a thing, meaning that it's just something that people say but it's completely unintended. It's almost like I think that it was a moment that the screenwriters put into the script here, almost forward thinking to having Rennie Harlan directing the second one. It was like almost an invitation to him.
It was. That's a great point. Yeah. Okay, then. Let's see, what's next on it? So then he gets into, Johan does, what has become the great Nextreel New Year's controversy.
That's exactly what
Welcome
it is,
to the party, pal.
Yeah, this is something I don't know. I guess we're just flat out idiots, or at least I am.
Well, I don't know. The way we talked about it on the show, I think you brought up the fact that you were confused about this when they throw John McClane throws the body off the building and says, "Welcome to the party, pal." And then there are gunshots on the car, Al's car, as he's backing up. And the way it was cut, it looks like it was McClane who was shooting at the car. Does that sum it up?
The way that it's cut, it seems like, in order to get Al's attention, it seems like he throws the body onto Al's car and then shoots at it to kind of get his attention so that Al thinks there are bad things happening afoot in this building and he needs to get the PD down here.
Right.
That's essentially kind of how it plays. And thinking about it again, I'm like, it is weird. Like these, okay, so what this basically means is it's a poorly edited scene because we never actually see the terrorists. We do get that wide shot where, yes, it's pretty clear it's only like the fifth floor or so when the Germans start shooting at his car. But it's this thing like, okay, so the Germans start shooting at Al. What it means though is that basically they're waiting for something to happen. Like they're real nervous about Al noticing something. I mean, we already see them inside getting ready to kill him in case he goes too far down the hallway, Mm-hmm. And then obviously the guy on the fifth floor is watching him, And then I guess he's got a really itchy trigger finger. So as soon as he sees that body land on Al's car, I guess it just means, oh, time to open fire. It's a strange scene. Like I guess the logic behind it all around is a little kooky.
Yeah, I guess. The issue is we did have a couple of people who wrote in who said, that they saw it the same way we did. But in large part, I think the majority of folks saw it differently, that in fact it was the terrorists who were shooting down on the car. And I have to admit, that's how I see it completely now. I get it. And I don't think I'd ever given it as much thought before watching it this time around. So
I think it really just speaks to how critical editing is for certain scenes.
Yeah.
And how things can be interpreted if they're cut certain ways. I don't think it's something that's ever really struck me sideways at all. It ended up being one of those talking points as we were digging deeper into the movie that obviously turned into something a little bigger.
I think it's terrific.
People are very opinionated
about Die Hard, and we probably stepped in it a little bit. But I stand by our position on the same editing issues that happen in Die Hard 2, and as yet nobody has written in correcting us on that.
I think because
terrorists can't see through walls or planes.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Let's do trailers.
Let's do them.
I don't know why I brought this trailer this week, Andy. I don't even like these kinds of movies. Really, I don't. But I'm talking about Slender Man. And it's another take on the 2009 internet meme, the story of a tall, thin, horrifying figure with unnaturally long arms and a featureless face who's reputed to be responsible for the haunting, and disappearance of countless children and teens. I don't know. I didn't like this trailer. I don't really like how the trailer was put together. It's one of those that moves from horror to like German expressionist, and I had problems with it. I like the concept of the Slender Man. I think it's a spooky characterization, and it gets into all of my deep-seated anxieties about dark woods, and child abduction, which is a terrible and terrifying thing to even consider, and has plagued me for the last 15 years. But the movie just really, I found myself annoyed by it. It is directed by Sylvain White, written by David Burke, and Victor Surge, who has credit as creator of The Slender Man. In fact, Victor Surge's name in real life is Eric Knudsen, who developed, I guess, originated Slender Man as the character on a creepypasta internet meme in 2009. So there you go. That's Slender Man. I did not like it. I think you did.
No, not really. I was watching the trailer, and I was initially, I'm like, okay, so is this just taking this, fictional Jack Skellington sort of character, and is it just kind of a horror movie with it, or is it something where they're trying to tie in some of the kind of the real horrifying stories that have evolved from it, like those two girls stabbing their classmate, and I couldn't quite tell from the trailer. I mean, honestly, the trailer just makes it look like Slender Man is a thing terrorizing girls.
Yeah.
But I was wondering in the trailer if they are going to try to bring some of that in, some of those elements, and turn it into something maybe a little more than just kind of a straight up, low end horror movie. I don't know. It's an odd thing. This fictional character that Knudsen created. Was it like 8 years ago now? 9 years ago. That still is this effective, creepy character. I mean, it is a very creepy concept, and just the way that stories have kind of evolved from it it's interesting. But
and there are a number of them. I mean, there are some.
Yeah.
There's a Russian film called Slender Man from 2013 that's based on the concept. There's another one with Karen Gillan called Slender Man that's essentially the same thing. The Tall Man with Jessica Biel is essentially the same thing. Like this is certainly a characterization that has really, it has legs, very long legs, Andy.
Plus there was a documentary that came out a couple years ago, just really about kind of that stabbing situation that happened.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's weird. It's an interesting concept, kind of like the boogeyman. I mean, basically that's what it is a kind of a more modern boogeyman.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is something I'm going to run out and see, but it is interesting how this concept kind of keeps kicking these stories out there.
Yeah. If you want, you can play the game, video game Minecraft. The story game has Slenderman in it, or you can play the games of Knudsen's own Slender the 8 Pages and Slender the Arrival. Interesting stuff. What's yours?
Oh, there you go. My trailer, Pete, it's actually a movie that was just released in theaters a couple days ago, January 5th, but not any sort of big release that at least I understand it. It is a Chinese fantasy comedy called Hansen and the Beast that I picked just because it looks so absurd, but there was something about it that made me laugh, and so I ended up just kind of going with it regardless, because it's one of those trailers that like I said, it's probably not going to be in theaters too wide here in the US, but it looks like a really wacky movie, and if people are interested in seeing something quirky, check out the trailer and maybe look for the movie when it's released digitally over here. The story of Hansen and the Beast, it's about this Yuan Shuai, a debt-ridden animal breeder who tries to get out of his financial predicament by finding a wealthy girlfriend through matchmaking dates. He unexpectedly meets and falls in love with the fox demon, Bai Chanchu, who's arrived to the mortal realm to repay her gratitude. However, the head of the demon tribe, Yun Zhonghe, forbids a love relationship between a demon and a human and takes her away. To seek his lover, he bravely crashes the demonic world. That's just kind of a quick little write-up. It sounds kind of just like an interesting little fantasy movie, but it has some levels of humor that are quirky and weird, and some strange, these demon characters. This girl turns into this Arctic fox, and this guy turns into this eagle thing, and I don't know. It's a strange little Chinese movie, but I thought it looked funny, so that's what I picked.
I think it looks great. I was so excited by this trailer. I was giddy. I get the same feeling, watching so many of the these great sort of modern Chinese action movies that are just really fun, and the effects look appropriately cartoonish yet photoreal. Like I was just delighted. And that final scene, do you wear clothes when you talk to each other? No, we have fur. We're naked, but we have fur. I thought that was a riot. I got a great chuckle out of this. I can't wait to see it. Probably, as you say, won't be seeing it in theaters, but boy, I'll grab it on digital as soon as I can. Looks really great. Great pick.
Yeah, just a very strange one.
Yeah.
It looks like one of those fun ones that, despite the subtitles, could be fun for the whole family.
Right.
So anyway, that's my pick, Hansen and the Beast.
All right, Andy. It's time for the lists.
Oh,
and we're gonna have to bust through these because we have a lot of stuff. I'm sure you have a lot of stuff. I'm sure of it. Now I don't have a detailed Andy Nelson style write up of what these lists are with rules and everything. All I have here is for list number 1, favorite Christmas movies. Is that what we said?
This is our list for Die Hard.
Okay.
We said we'll do our favorite Christmas movies, which obviously was restricted because we have covered quite a few every year.
Yeah, that was disappointing, I found. I wanted to talk about most of the ones we've already talked about. And the second list we'll be talking about is best airplane crashes in film.
Everybody's favorite thing to talk about.
Absolutely. We should have done best airplane crashes over the holidays. That would really drive that last nail in. Yeah. Fun for the whole family, indeed. Let's start with favorite Christmas movies. You're sitting down with the family. You have a trio of films you'd like to watch. Where do you begin, Andy?
That's a great question, Pete. One of the classics that we watch every year, and I don't even know if I can call it a real classic, but it certainly is something that's become a classic for our family. It's something that we absolutely watch every year. It's an animated Christmas film that we just love. It's got amazing heart, great characters. I know some people just really never connected with it, but our family did, and we just have such a great time watching Arthur Christmas, a fantastic film directed by Sarah Smith, with James McAvoy, Hugh Laurie, Bill Nye, Jim Broadbent, Imelda Staunton. Just a fantastic cast of people in this story about this son of Santa who's a little on the hopeful side, whereas his brother is a little on the high tech side. And Arthur has to figure out how to get this one gift that accidentally got forgotten to this little girl. And it's a really heartwarming story. Our family loves watching it. That's my first choice, Arthur Christmas.
I think that's a great pick, and it's kind of a recent discovery for us too. And we definitely watched it when the kids were of a certain age, and it makes me think we should pull it out again because we haven't watched it in a couple of years, and that's a great pick. It's a fun movie, and I don't know. I wonder if it's overlooked as one of the standards, but it could very well serve as a great action standard for kids.
I think so. I mean, it's a great choice. Everyone should check it out.
My first pick is another one that I don't watch every year, but every year I watch it, I love it, and that is the Richard Donner directed Scrooged, starring Bill Murray, and it's. Okay, it's the Bill Murray's take on A Christmas Carol, but man, I find this movie so funny. Bill Murray and Karen Allen and Bobcat Goldthwait and Alfre Woodard. I mean, I don't know. I just think this is one of Bill Murray's kind of sweet spots, and it's charming and strange, and it showcases everything that he needs to do. And Carol Kane, it is brilliant, just brilliant. One of the funniest ghosts. So mine is starts with Scrooge.
Well, and you have to mention that Robert Mitchum pops up in that one too, which is one of his later in life films, and it was always nice to see him in that one.
That's a great point. And all of the Murray brothers, Brian, John, and Joel Murray,
right,
also show up in it. So
definitely not one. My recollection, I haven't seen it in quite a while, but my recollection is it's not quite as family appropriate as something like Arthur Christmas.
It's an older family.
That's right. A little bit
older family.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. My next one is, it's a family movie that, I say family movie, but it's really something it's about a family. It's more something for my wife and I. It's definitely something my wife watches religiously. It's a really touching film about a family coming together for the Christmas holiday and dealing with, mom has an illness, and there's some new girlfriends and a lot of different things happening in the film. And it's The Family Stone, directed by Thomas Bezucha, with Claire Danes, Diane Keaton, Craig T. Nelson, Rachel McAdams, Dermot Mulroney, Sarah Jessica Parker, Luke Wilson. Fantastic cast of characters. And it's just this family as they're kind of struggling to come together. Dermot Mulroney brings his really uptight girlfriend, Sarah Jessica Parker, home for the holidays. And then Diane Keaton, we find out, she's dying, and there's just so much stuff happening in this story. It's this beautiful film about family and just kind of the craziness of how families can be and how everybody comes together. It's a great film. It's something that always, I think, just hits perfectly for both my wife and I. And that's my number 2, The Family Stone.
Craig T. Nelson is brilliant. Totally underrated actor.
Absolutely. He's always great.
Always great. Great pick. My second pick for Christmas, The Ref. Also not family friendly, but I'm telling you, even though it's a Kevin Spacey thing, right? I know this is the era of digitally replacing Kevin Spacey. This is Dennis Leary's, this is a great Dennis Leary movie. He is a criminal and he's in the midst of a jewelry heist from this home he's broken into, and he sets off the alarm and gets trapped in the basement. And it's a story of him put together with this family, or this couple in marriage therapy. B.D. Wong is a particularly great therapist and a very funny character. Dennis Leary, Judi Davis, Kevin Spacey, Glynis Johns, B.D. Wong. Very, very funny movie about a couple trying to figure out how to reconcile their marriage at the holidays with the aid of a criminal in tow. I love The Ref.
I've never even seen it.
What?
I know.
Oh,
I know.
Andy. You should see it, but you have to picture Christopher Plummer in the whole thing.
Right,
that's
exactly.
That's the new Spacey rule.
It'll be. I'll have to picture what 1995 era.
No.
Christopher
Now.
Plummer. Just 85-year-old.
He's married to Judi Davis. He's 87 years old.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I forgot to say, directed by Ted Demme, written by Richard LaGravenese and Marie Weiss. The Ref.
Fantastic.
All right.
Well, my final choice, Pete, there are so many standards that are Christmas movies in our house. There's some that are more kid-friendly. There's some that are more adult-friendly. But for my final pick, I really have to go with just one of my all-time favorites, one of the perennial Christmas classics, and that is the fantastic Frank Capra film, It's a Wonderful Life from 1946. This is one of those Christmas movies. I mean, it's a Christmas story. It kind of turned into one of those movies that was on TV every year at Christmas, like The Wizard of Oz and Sound of Music. But this one really is kind of this really powerful story about this guy who is considering suicide on Christmas Eve. It's this incredibly dark movie, and you forget that sometimes when you're watching it. But showing it to kids, it's like, oh man, yeah. I mean, he's here he is, like getting ready to jump off the bridge, and then he goes through this Back to the Future 2 style past, where he sees all of the things that happened in his life because he wasn't around. And how he really helped everybody. I mean, it's an incredibly touching film. It's one of the most wonderful performances that Jimmy Stewart did, and of course Donna Reed, Lionel Barrymore. It's just an absolute classic. I love watching it. I've never been bored of it, and that's my final pick.
So I have it's on my list of shame, but not because I haven't seen it. It's on my list of shame because as long as I've been married. I've never watched it with my wife or family, and I found out this year she's never seen it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So I have some work to do. I need to catch up on this one for the sake of the fam.
Absolutely. Yeah. You better get to work on that one.
For my final pick, I was deeply tempted to pick Less Than Zero. because of all the Christmas cocaine, and I know that's a perennial holiday treat. I did not, however. I picked one that absolutely has cemented itself as our final annual watch, which is Elf. You cotton-headed ninny muggins, Andy. This Will Ferrell movie is one of the absolute sweetest, most adorable, most kind-hearted kind of modern Christmas movies that we've stumbled on. Directed by Jon Favreau, stars James Caan, the blonde Zooey Deschanel, Mary Steenburgen as the wonderful wife and mom to James Caan and their son, but also Bob Newhart and Ed Asner. It's just a fantastic cast all the way around, and they all play their relationship with Christmas with the appropriate sort of level of enthusiasm. Even Ed Asner's Santa is, he loves Christmas, but he's a grizzled old guy, and I love it. I love it so much. And we watched it again this year, and just had as good a time this year as we have every other past year. Elf.
Fantastic choice. Yeah, that's definitely on our annual watch list also.
I didn't put, and I should say as a bonus pick, the Christmas Eve late night movie that we've watched every year since we got married. And I, in fact, have watched every year since, well, I don't know, I guess it came out with my family, barring the years that it wasn't available on video with my parents, is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And so that is definitely our tradition, but it's, I don't know, it felt like a little bit trite to pick that one. And
it's one of those, it's kind of, it's a perennial classic. A lot of people watch it.
A lot of people watch it. We are some of those people.
I've never loved it as much as some of the other vacation film. Well, mainly the first vacation film, but it still is.
It's one of those movies, Andy, that we watch. My wife didn't either. The first time she saw it, she thought I was silly. The next year, we watched it again because you have to. That's how you make tradition. And she liked it, I think, about the same amount. The third year, it was the third year she watched it that I actually found her looking forward to it a little bit. And the fourth year, she started quoting it. And so it took a little while to come around to it.
Traditions are formed.
Yeah. So, all right. Our next list is equally happy. We are talking about great airplane crashes in film. And I want to say that I picked my movies, and the list was much longer than Christmas movies. I'm a little embarrassed by that. But I picked my movies based on how much I love the airplane crash, not how much I love the movie. Right? They're they're independent of one another. Okay. And in most cases, in most cases, I actually really loved the movies as well. But in some cases on my list, depending on what we steal from each other, I may not love the movie, but love the crash.
I guess we'll find out. Right. I was surprised as I was kind of digging into this. We had actually talked about a good number of films already on the show that have crashes in them. I was like, oh yeah, World War Z, The Edge, Fight Club, Knowing, The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, I know that was disappointing. Actually, quite.
Well, why don't you kick this one off, Pete? Go ahead.
Okay. Well, my first pick is one of my very favorite airplane crashes. No, I'm going to make that my third pick because I think it may be my favorite airplane crash. Okay. I will start with what I think is widely considered to be one of the, across the industry as one of the best airplane crashes in film, and that is Jeff Bridges in Fearless. I think. Did I just steal something from you?
You did.
It's okay. It's terrific. It's terrific for a number of reasons. The first is that it's a great and terrifying crash. It's silent, and Bridges is at that point he's gone up to sit in the front next to a scared kid who's flying alone, and the mix of terror and heart in this particular sequence I think is very, very strong. My memory of the rest of Fearless is not that great. Like, I really remember the crash, and I don't remember much else of the movie, and I don't remember being as touched by the whole movie as many other people were. So the airplane crash itself is strong, but find the clip on YouTube.
Well, I would disagree with you there. I think it's a brilliant, brilliant film that Peter Weir did, and it's very high on my list of films and airplane crashes. And there's also footage of that in The Wait.
Outstanding.
That was the funniest part of going through airplane crashes on YouTube. It's like, oh wait, I used some of that footage too. Oh wait, there's that one too.
You think to yourself how easy it would have been to make The Wait now?
Yeah, I know. There's so many. All right. Well, my first one is a Robert Zemeckis film that is not often regarded as one of his one of his big films, but I found it to be an incredibly compelling film, and it is his 2012 film Flight with Denzel Washington. It was a kind of I don't know if it's completely accurate, but it was like his return to making real films, films that weren't just the motion capture that he had kind of started doing in the early 2000s, and led him to stop making films with real people. This was his return, and it's a really powerful film, I find, about this airline pilot who has an in-flight mechanical failure on his plane, and he has to do this insane landing, part of which he saves the plane by actually flipping it in midair so that he can get the direction back where it needs to be before he crashes it into a church and a field. All while he's high on coke, and it's that's kind of what the bulk of the film is about. Is this pilot who saves all the people on board, nearly everybody, but he was doing it while he was high. Really powerful film. Denzel's performance is great. Zemeckis' direction is top notch as usual, and the airplane crash is just incredibly intense. So that's my first choice, 2012's Flight.
That's a terrific pick, and I have this such a clear memory of the plane's wing going through the steeple on the church, and Denzel's face, like looking out the window as he's watching the wing destroy stuff.
It goes slow-mo.
Crazy slow. Yeah, it's just beautiful and horrifying. My next pick is also beautiful and horrifying. This falls right into that category because you stole Flight from my list, and that is Final Destination, which was not a movie I liked, but the plane crash is.
Oh, come on.
I know, but you know me. It's the movie. The movie's great. Okay, the movie's great. It is what it is. But the plane crash doubles down on the most horrifying elements of any traumatic event. Like, I don't expect all of the like head popping and blood spatter in an airplane crash that we get in this one, only to be, amped by the bodies and entire rows of seats being sucked out into the air, and the burning flesh of, the fire on the, as it's just careening down the aisle, it's really terrible. It's just terrible. It is a disastrously horrible, terrifying plane crash. So thank you to Final Destination, my second pick.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about that movie is that not only do we get a plane crash, but because the whole concept of the film, these kids cheat death, and then they keep, then there's the car crash, and then there's, it's like death comes after them in every way you can.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, what fun.
It's good.
Oh, what fun. That's a very fun one. For my next one, as tempted as I am to stick with Zemeckis, I may return to him depending on what you pick for your next one. I'm actually going to go with one of my faves. It is the 2011 film, which I know I've talked about on other lists. I just couldn't remember what lists they were. It is The Gray, the fantastic Joe Carnahan film with Liam Neeson. Again, Dermot Mulroney, Frank Grillo. This group of oil men who are coming back from their time up at the rig up in the wilds of Alaska, and their plane goes down. And then, of course, the rest of the movie is the survivors of the accident having to battle this pack of wolves. Just an incredible, incredible film. One of my faves. But the plane crash is for me, it's just such a brilliant one because really it's largely seen kind of from the perspective of Liam Neeson's character as he's, he's sensing what's happening. He latches into the seatbelt next to him. He kind of uses that as something to grip with as the plane gets ripped apart and crashes. It's an incredibly powerful sequence that it really kind of kicks off an incredibly powerful film. So that's my number 2.
It is really terrific, and it's really haunting, right? It is dark for so long before the plane starts opening up. It's just great and really scary. That's a great pick. That was certainly on my master list, but I didn't pick it for my final movie. The final on my list is Martin Scorsese's 2004 biopic of Howard Hughes. That is the airplane crash in Hollywood, as our dear friend of the show, Leonardo DiCaprio, takes his failing military jet and crashes it across the homes of this wealthy area and into a mansion. I love the whole thing. I love the whole thing actually because of what it is, because it looks so real and so good in broad daylight. The level of destruction, the level of there are a few little comic snips in there as you know, the people in the homes start feeling it shake, and then ultimately, you know, it crashes into this thing. Leo's depiction of Hughes in this movie is top notch. I think this is both a great airplane crash and a great film.
Yeah, absolutely. Good pick there. It's there's nothing like seeing Scorsese directing the devastation as the plane's wings like rip through the roofs of the Beverly Hills mansions.
Yeah. It's great.
Definitely. For my final selection, I think I'm going to go with this film again. Another film that has some shots in The Wait. People should check that out. This is a film that I found quite powerful at the time. Haven't seen it since, but it's a really interesting story. It is the 1993 film directed by Frank Marshall, Alive, a biopic about the story of the Uruguayan rugby team that crashes in the Andes, and they have to, the survivors have to figure out how to survive. You got Ethan Hawke, Josh Hamilton, Vincent Spano, Ileana Douglas. It's an interesting group of these people who, I think a big element of this story that circled the actual instance, also the film, is the fact that in order to survive, the players had to resort to eating some of the flesh from the dead people.
Yeah.
It was very controversial. I know it was definitely a moment the filmmakers were quite nervous about as far as how it would play. But I never found any issues with it. I felt it was handled very kind of effectively and honestly. But really it starts off with this incredible plane crash up in the mountains as you see them hitting the peaks, and it rips the wing off, and then the other wing off, and then the tail, and people are getting sucked out, and it's an incredibly horrifying plane wreck, and that is my final pick.
Horrifying because it's real. Like, you know that they based this on the real crash. That is the thing that just tears me apart. So that's a great pick. I'm really surprised, Andy. This is a great list of plane crashes, and these 6 movies, I think, you know, pop them in because you'll like them, even Final Destination. But I'm really surprised that you didn't pick Castaway.
I was going to. I was torn because I did one Zemeckis movie, and I was torn between the two. I think, and as much as I have my affinity for Tom Hanks, Flight isn't a movie I hear people talking about as much. Yeah. And Castaway has an incredible plane crash, but I wanted to just highlight Flight on this list.
So my master list was really long and included...
So was mine,
right? Yeah. Included all these movies and all the movies we talked about, and still the one that I really wanted to talk about as my honorable mention is Superman Returns, which I think the general effect and that hero moment of Superman saving this flaming plane and dropping it into the middle of the baseball field is really great, and I feel good every time I watch it. It's exciting. The music just crushes it, and so that whole sequence is really great. Superman Returns, that's an honorable mention. I just have to mention because watching it again this morning, it's just really exciting. Whatever you think of the movie, that sequence is top notch.
Yeah, and that's kind of the return of Superman in the movie called Superman Returns.
Yeah. And so what's did you have any honorable mentions that you didn't get on the list?
I mean, I guess I'll just say Castaway. I had quite an extensive list as well, but I'll just stick with that one.
We're still in the middle of our Die Hard series.
Yes, Die Hard with a Vengeance.
What do we do? What do we do for our list for next week's movies around Die Hard with a Vengeance?
Well, Die Hard with a Vengeance. Let's see. It's a gold heist. Do we want to do anything with heist movies?
We could do heist movies.
We're going to have a lot of heist movies, I have a feeling, when we do our Ocean series later.
I think so too. That's the spring. I worry about that a little bit. Might not be as great a time to do that. There's something to the whole sort of Simon Says thing, like movies where a game is involved in the narrative. There are some movies that I can think of right off the top of my head that kind of fit that bill. I don't know how many.
Wow. And then there was Ring Around the
Rosie. And its sequel, Pocket Full of Death. I actually think we could come up with something for that. I've got a couple in mind that are interesting, fun listeners.
You do?
I do. But I'm not gonna. I won't spoil them. Game mechanic movies, but I'm not. I don't feel like I don't feel like we're done. We're not. Don't hang it up yet.
Oh, okay.
Anything related to Sam Jackson?
Like favorite Sam Jackson
No,
movies?
that's not. That's like low hanging fruit.
Oh, I know, but it allows a lot of options.
It sure does. Favorite Sam Jackson buddy movies?
Sam Jackson buddy movies. Favorite movies with Sam Jackson and Bruce Willis. Movies involving people going through big tunnels.
Okay, tunnels. I could truck with tunnels.
We could do tunnels.
What about movies in which the antagonist is a nameless voice?
Are there that many?
I don't know. That's part of the game.
I can think of one.
I got two, and one of them is this one.
It is interesting because we don't meet our antagonist physically for the first 47 minutes of the movie.
And that's what I'm thinking. Like eventually we meet the antagonist.
But it's played for quite a while as a mystery.
It is a mystery. Are you intrigued?
I am intrigued. I'm game. It's an interesting way to go.
Right, how do we want to phrase it?
Movies in which we don't meet the antagonist physically for the first half of the movie.
Well, in which the mystery of the antagonist is central to the narrative.
Yeah, because even once we meet him, we don't really know who he is until. Right? Did we find out that he's Hans Gruber's brother before we meet him?
Spoilers.
It's right about the same time.
There we go. Next week, movies in which the mystery of the antagonist is central to the mystery. I'm very excited about this. I think there's more than two movies.
I hope so.
I think we're going to be able to pull it apart. Okay, excellent. What are you going out to see anything today? Anything hot on your list?
No, I'm going to the doctor.
You need that.
I'm going to check in with urgent care, and then it's kind of a busy TNR day, isn't it?
It is.
I'm a little loaded with show prep.
Oh my goodness, all day long. Yeah, so we better go get started on that. More shows coming later.
Yes, we better.
All right.
Yes,
Thanks,
indeed.
Andy. Have a great day.
You too, Pete.